In Dallas, Congresswoman Julie Johnson joins in, a Democrat from Texas, member of House Homeland Security. Welcome back to the show, Congresswoman. I mentioned kind of before the break that, and we've heard a lot of people say this, rhetoric needs to come down. Obviously, tension is going to be high on one end of the political spectrum when a story like this comes out. People are taking, in this case, to the streets in what appears to be a peaceful manner. On the other side, we heard from some of the law enforcement officials in your state the other day saying that the rhetoric against law enforcement officials, ICE agents, and the like should be lowered. What's your take?
I think just, political rhetoric in this country is out of control, and it starts at the very top with the president. He consistently uses very violent language when talking about Democrats and progressive causes. And just didn't even go back to January 6th and the pardoning of all those people who he called heroes with the violence that they started. It's just been escalating and escalating and escalating, and it's just inappropriate. And what we really need is for everyone on both sides of the aisle with any position of any kind of leadership or voice in this country to tone this down. This is not who we are as Americans. We don't settle our disputes this way, and it's just completely unacceptable.
Sometimes I feel like we're making progress on this. And after the Charlie Kirk shooting, for example, we had what I would describe as so many constructive conversations where you almost feel good about yourself afterwards. Oh, maybe we're going in the right direction, And then something else happens, right? And if I interview a Democrat like you, often I hear comments like that, as you just articulated, and I get your points on, how the president speaks. If you interview a Republican right away, they say, well, they're calling us all Nazis and that kind of thing, and that can lead to violence. So you wonder, like, how do we get to the quote-unquote better place from there?
Right. Well, I think it starts with, coming back to where you actually have respect for our democracy and respect for people on the other side and handling yourself appropriately. This president, has a scorched earth policy. He pursues his political enemies, pursues anyone that doesn't agree with him, that doesn't toe the line in a very heavy-handed way. And I think you're seeing that manifest in a lot of disruption and with young men feeling like they can take disputes into their own hands behind the scope of a gun. And, it's really, it's just at an epic crisis, I think, in this country. We can't resolve our disputes this way. We can't encourage it, praise violence, acknowledge heroes and this kind of stuff. It all needs to be universally condemned strongly and unequivocally by everyone.
Well, this is the way to do it, right? I mean, knock on wood, what's going on in Des Moines right now. Okay, so I don't know the details of the story. It's just breaking today of what, why the school superintendent was detained. But the people in Des Moines now who disagree, presumably, with that are out with signs and they're voicing their displeasure. But you don't, at least I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to speak for all the signs they're holding up and things like that, or what they may be saying, because I can't hear them. But, we've also seen in other cases where the blame has been put on the people who are doing the detaining, like, the agents who are probably just acting on, they're trying to carry out a policy rather than making the policy.
Well, I think you've got some folks that take it to the extreme, within the ICE agent scope of things. Sure, there's agents that are just trying to follow their orders and do their job and do it the best they can. And I've certainly interacted with a large number of those who work for Homeland Security and who are just have been career service with that agency through multiple presidencies and are just doing their job as law enforcement the best they can. But what's happened, too, is they're paying $50,000 bounties. They've lowered the age to 18. They're hiring some kind of Rambo wannabes, and there's people who are abusing their power. And and we see that on video in this age of instant video. We see ICE agents knock women down and tackle them very violently and abuse their power with how they're detaining folks in a way that's just completely inappropriate. And ICE isn't doing enough.
But you just don't want people shooting at them either, or that kind of thing. Right.
But that's not how we do. To your point, we have a right of peaceful protest. There are avenues to express our displeasure with the government. But shooting people isn't the way to do it.
Yeah. Come on. Can we go to something we could agree on, right? Okay, Congressman. Good to talk to you again about all these things. And in Des Moines, that's the way to peacefully protest so far. So we'll follow that. New announcement.